Hey y'all, good morning. I'm Mark. Welcome to Pure South Pastures Farm. I'm so glad you joined me today. I want to share with you a few things. When you're farming, there's a lot of things that you plan for, and sometimes you make the best of plans and other things just happen. Sometimes it's tragic and it's just not the best thing, and sometimes you just have some happy accidents and you wish you had planned well enough. So I want to share some of those with you today. Just some cool things that have happened here on the farm that we really weren't planning for. And I'll show you the cows, how we're grazing those as well. So, hey, hang out with us today. Hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us so much. And I appreciate you staying with us. So I just moved the cows into this paddock. And we are continuing to trial and error with some ultra high stock density grazing. I'm not packing them in with a back fence, so they are, because of shade and water needs. We've had just a lot of high temps and high humidity, so been really careful to make sure our cows have plenty of access to shade and water. And so I'm not back fencing them where they are just locked down really tight. What we're doing is we're giving them a 100-yard strip that's 10 yards wide, and it's just some pretty decent forage compared to what they were on the last video I showed you when we were grazing broom sedge, green broom sedge, and they just love this. This is a lot of crabgrass, a lot of Bahia, Bermuda, and you can see a spot there where they've already grazed it down really low. But most of this stuff there is some stemmy and some seed heads, and they don't care for that, but they'll get down in here in the deeper stuff and dig around in this Bahia, Bermuda, and a lot of this stuff is knee deep, so not so much right here where we're standing, but these are a few of the newest calves. We had 3 calves in July, so it makes 7 for the year. Look at that calf just sitting there eating that weed, what people would call a weed. Okay, so you can see the graze line just past these cows right here, and this is what they were on yesterday. You can see how they've trampled it down. They ate it down, and so this goes, again, I'm just experimenting. This goes against what I was trying to do the last couple of years, because I was trying to leave a whole lot of residual, a lot of trample. But the reality was, because we had Bermuda, Bahia, a lot of warm season grass, we were not getting the trample that I thought we would get. And it just wasn't working for us. What we were getting was, it would be eaten down like this, down to the dirt in some places, and then standing in others, which is a little bit what you see here. But I'm gonna come in after this and with the bush hog, and I'm gonna get all this level where the grass has an opportunity to compete with the non-desirable forages that they didn't eat, like this smartweed here. So I'll, after the cows eat this paddock right here today, tomorrow I'll come in, we'll graze we'll mow all this down, eat it level, and then we'll start grazing that way, because behind me it's a little bit thin, and I'm just gonna give it some more time to grow from here to the highway, to the road. So, yeah, I really like what's happening, man. I'm telling you, dung beetles, talking about happy surprises. This isn't really one I was planning on sharing with you. And I know I've talked about them a lot, but I don't know that when we moved to this farm, the first year I didn't see a lot of dung beetle activity. We've not been doing fly control as far as like pouring stuff down our cattle's back. Let me just show you where they were yesterday. There's a little dung beetle activity there. But last year and the year before, when flies got really bad, I caved and used some fly control. And this year I just was really trying to hold out, and the cows really have done well, and they're not just overwhelmed. And it's crazy because it seems like I'm just showing you all this all the red is dung beetle activity, where they're tearing up and destroying the manure. Look at this manure pile right here. I mean, it's almost completely gone in just a matter of probably a little over 24 hours by dung beetles. So here's another one that's just about gone. There's one that's just about gone. This one is, I mean, just pulverized. So, I mean, you almost can't find a manure pile here without some kind of dung beetle activity on it. And so, if you don't know, the reason that's good is because not only are they destroying the manure so that the fly larva cycle, the life cycle of the fly hopefully will be deterred a little bit. I think it takes 3 days for a fly life cycle to go from the egg to hatching and becoming the fly. That's what I've heard anyway. So we're hopefully cutting that back, but also we're taking nutrients, which obviously cow manure is fertilizer, and we're taking that down into the ground where the cattle, where the dung beetles take it down and feed their young down in the ground, and so it's benefiting the soil as well. So anyway, I guess that's enough manure talk. Some of y'all probably grossed out by that, but to me, that right there is just exciting. It's incredible. You know, there's just dung beetle activity everywhere. So that's a happy deal because what we're doing is working in that regard. There's a lot of things that we're still working with and trying to tweak and dial in and learn, and so we don't get it all right, but that's one of the things that I'm super excited about. So, you know, I'll just show you the cows. I mean, the fly pressure, they have flies on them, but they're not just struggling. This is an old cow, and she's packing the pounds on. Here's the bull, and he's got some flies on him, but they're not bad. Hey, buddy. You see the flies on him. But look, you think he's suffering? He's not suffering. He's a toad. He wants me to rub his head. Look at these babies. This girl's born in February. And look how few flies she has on her. Oh, she's a good-looking little half South Pole. Whew, man. Golly. Hope we have a bunch of babies look like that. She's incredible. So, yeah, little baby. You see this cow right here's got a little fly pressure on her, but she's not suffering. She's doing good. Look at this little half South Pole bull here. See how he's doing. Got flies on him. You can see. So he's not struggling. You know, he's packing the pounds on. The boy's a toad. Look at that rear end. He just got some hindquarters on him. Good looking little bull calf. This mama right here may be our first cull. I'm not trying to cull right now because we want to build the herd. She has not bred back that I'm aware of. I haven't looked at her in a couple days, but she should be, if she doesn't calve in the next month and a half, she's going to be our first cull. So she's always been thin. She's not the oldest cow, but she got a bad eye. But so far, she's given us some pretty good little calves. So we'll just watch her and see how that goes. Anyway, you can see here what they left behind yesterday. They fouled a lot of it, so they won't touch it. I didn't back fence. I pulled the fence down from right here. You can see the graze line from where they grazed right down through here yesterday. And this over here will look like that tomorrow. I wish I had time and was home where I could move them 4 times a day. As you can tell, it's early morning and 6 o'clock. You might hear why it's cool, and I got to get to work. And so, like many of you, if you go to work every day, you can't be there. I mean, these guys that talk about ultra high stock density grazing and doing 4, 5, 12 moves a day, that's just not realistic for so many of us. So make it work how you can. I'm moving them 1 time a day. I might move them in the afternoon if I come home, and if I know I'm going to be able to come home, I might give them a smaller paddock in the morning. It works better because they don't foul as much. So as they walk across this, as they drop manure and urine on it, obviously that fouls it and they don't want to eat it as much, which is understandable. You and I wouldn't either. And so when they foul it, then they'll pass it up on the next, when they come back around to get a bite throughout the day. So if you can give them smaller paddocks, then when they go in, they immediately go to grazing and they don't foul as much. So understandable, and on days when we can be here on the weekends or whatever, we might do a little more of that. But right now, 1 paddock a day is what's working. Get them a long, narrow strip, and they'll wear this out today just like they did yesterday's. So the idea is that this grass will be taken back to the growing points, and it'll grow more evenly, especially as we come in and mow down the stuff that's undesirable, and it will help with weed control, allow grass, especially warm season grasses that didn't get a jump on the weeds in the spring. It'll give them an opportunity to express themselves a lot more, especially as we get rains. We've had a good steady season of rains. It'll probably be 2 weeks, looks like, before we get a rain now. It's nice and hot, but hopefully we will get us a rain, and that'll be beneficial. So, all right, let me show you some other stuff that's exciting and stuff we weren't expecting on the farm, some surprises. Check this out. All right, check this out. This was an area that we use as a pig brooder. So I've got this pushed up because there's a lot of manure in that. But last year, we had this gate right here closed on this, and we raised baby pigs in here until they went out to pasture. Well, in the fall, there was a local farm that did like a pumpkin patch. Excuse the guinea in the background, by the way. She just goes all the time. But there was a local farm that had a pumpkin patch, and when they got done with their pumpkin patch, they said, whoever wants pumpkins, come get them. And so we took a trailer over there a couple times and loaded the trailer up. We got hundreds of pumpkins. And so in the fall last year, we were feeding pumpkins along with our pigs' ration. We were feeding them pumpkins, and we would just throw them in here and bust them, and they would just, go to town on them. Well, this spring, all these vines started growing, and look at that beautiful flower. Isn't that awesome? And at first, I didn't know what it was. I thought that, because we had fed some vegetables too, and so I thought we were growing, squash or cucumbers or something. But check this out. Big old pumpkins. There's a few more coming on, but I don't think they're gonna make it. But look at these. Just giant pumpkins. You can see here in my hand. That thing's big. So I need to pull those, I guess. There's one over there. And then on the back of that fence line, that's the field over there where we were grazing green broom sedge. There are like 5 hanging on the fence over there. So pretty cool. Didn't mean for it to happen, but man, this vine at one time, you can see it's dying off now, but at one time this vine was thriving and just taking over. It seemed like it was just outgrowing everything. So we got pumpkins. Hey, we got something else I want to show you too. So if you watch this channel for any amount of time, you might remember a pig that I didn't know what I was going to do with. I had a boar that was uncut that I thought, when I purchased it, I thought it was cut. And I've since sold that boar, but this was a pig that I actually thought I was going to have to put down at one time. She had a lot of trouble digesting food. She'd eat and throw up, and she was really small. She's a lot smaller than the other pigs, which have since gone to processor, but I want you to look at her. Look at that. She's a mama pig. So we held her back because she was smaller, and then I thought, I think that pig's pregnant. And sure enough, that boar got her pregnant before I sold him. And she had a litter of 6. There was actually 7. One of them died. Let's see if I can, they got a little hut in here. They get in. Let's see if I can show you them. It's probably gonna be too dark. Hey pigs. Yeah, you can see them there. Hey pigs, big pigs. They're so cute. They're awesome. So they're about a couple weeks old. That's just a shelter that I built for the pigs when it was really, really cold this year. And she ended up farrowing in there. So that's kind of wild. Anyway, I just thought that was such a cool deal. So we're gonna raise, there's actually, there's 5 females and 1 male. And that's a blessing. So we'll raise those, and we'll be feeding those out, making some, I know it's hard to think about when they're so small and cute, but they'll make some awesome pork for families that want to purchase pork from the farm. So how cool is that? Happy accident. So where I'm standing is the 25 acres where it was just covered up in goat weed, and there's still some goat weed here, and obviously goat weed coming up even after I mowed it. But after coming through and mowing it, I mean, it was almost completely shaded out by the goat weed. And there's still some pressure from that weed in here, but man, the grass is really coming on here too. It's here, I'll flip it around. You can see there is a little bit of goat weed in there, but boy, it's just a lot of grass. And it's not the most optimal forage. There is a lot of Bermuda in here at certain places. There's quite a bit of carpet grass. A lot of stuff that's just not, again, not expecting it to be the best, but so much better than it was, because it was almost just a full stand of weeds. So it just speaks to the value. You can see the goat weed there. Just speaks to the value of clipping. This will have a lot of rest. We won't be back here with the cows probably till, unless we get an extreme situation with the drought, unless we have a true lack of moisture, we probably won't be back here until close to the fall, because we are tightening them down so tight and grazing with such high density that slows our grazing down, so we're not going around the farm as fast, and that will allow this new farm that's been just set stock grazed for so long, 50 plus years before we got it. It will allow it to just sit and rest, and that's what it needs. Man, it needs rest. So we will graze this off, but it'll be later in the year, and it'll give it a lot of time just to express the forages that are here. Obviously, more weeds will grow. That'll be part of the process. But as we go, just giving it more rest is huge. I'm considering planting some kind of annuals next spring, so that maybe some of that stuff can take off and get a jump on the weeds, shade the weeds out. So we may do some kind of mix of annuals here, and there's another field that's connected to this farm, a smaller field, but man, it's bad with goat weed. And so I need something to speed up the process of building soil and competing with these weeds. So, but I just wanted to show you, there is quite a bit of goat weed still in here, but we're making progress. It's getting better. So it's a beautiful farm. It just needs some TLC and some cows to graze it. This is an area that we just recently grazed and then mowed behind it. And so I don't make you sick, I'll just stop for a second. You see the residual we left behind. There's a lot of goat weed in here. But the grass is coming in thick and strong and out-competing a lot of the weeds that got a jump on them in the spring. So that's exciting. Pretty cool.